This is The Focus Group
Negotiation. This is what you do in business.
with Tim Bennett
Pucker up, Buttercup.
and John Nash.
We never give up.
It's the savvy side of 9 to 5. Who knew business talk could be so much fun?
Welcome to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Tim Bennett. We are in blue today. I don't know if blue is blue like it's not some pride color. We're just in blue today.
Happy Pride. I was going to wear pink.
Happy Pride.
But I didn't wear pink.
You didn't wear pink. No, this
You
is
made fun of me last time. You thought I looked like I worked at an ice cream
coming
shop.
weekend. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize some things I say you really take to heart.
Oh.
I said it looked like you should be scooping ice cream at a
Yeah,
Stewart's.
and that was it.
That shirt disappeared. That was
It's a rag now.
It was
It's
done.
dusting in it.
Every platform we're available on, you can check out at focusgroupradio.com. That's our video feed. If you're watching on live right now on Facebook and YouTube, thanks for joining us. Our phone number here is 1-877-962-6846. And by all means, call in with your comments or questions. We are happy to talk to you. And if you're not watching live, but you're time shifting, then you're going to have us on audio or video. And of course, all the platforms are at focusgroupradio.com. So before we get going, I just want to do a quick little thing. Last week, I mentioned to Tim during our deep discount segment that I was intrigued about this Blu-ray that had all the Planet of the Apes movies on them, because that's one of Tim's favorite movie series, Planet of the Apes. I don't know if you watched there was a 70s TV show.
I watched the TV show.
did?
I think it was every Saturday night, maybe, before Emergency.
So one of our listeners who sent me pictures before of his partner's toy collection sent me these 4 photos of their Planet of the Ape action figure.
They have their own collection.
So look at this. Okay, so
Wait a minute. Is this their house?
this is a room where the collection's at. So on the left-hand side is the Planet of the Apes cabinet, and that's all these characters. Now, by the way, running the show in the booth, as always, is our great team, John and Garrett. And Garrett's on
boys.
the left, John's on the right. And Garrett said to me, he looks at these pictures, he goes, they're not in their boxes. Garrett knows something that we all know. If it's not mint in, if the box isn't there, it's not mint in box.
Yeah, but I do agree that, you know what? Who's going to really buy that stuff? Is it really going to be worth that much more if
I don't
it's in
know.
a box?
I actually think it's cool that they have them to display.
Yeah,
and you can
play with them.
So then he sent us detailed pictures of my favorites in the middle. Tim, this was all over. That doll on the right is the Charlton Heston with the rag,
In a fur wrap?
Yeah, the leather wrap, and next to him is the lawgiver statue, and then below them is Dr. Gayest. Now, any Simpson fans are going to remember when they did that episode, Dr. Gayest. You know, remember they did the whole musical with the Planet of the Apes thing. And on the right is my favorite. If I were a kid again, I would have gotten those space chimps.
Space chimps?
That's when they send them back to Earth. So anyway, I want to thank our listener for sending those in, because I think having all those toys is super cool.
I used to love as a kid when they would talk to the chimps and they would make that kind of inquisitive.
The head tilt.
And I used to always when I worked at Subaru, I used to say they give me the Planet of the Apes stare, because the Japanese would do the same thing when you talk to me to get that Planet of the Apes look. Like, really?
Actually, when I was learning about body language in my animation classes, apparently when we the more we tilt our head, the more we are sending a signal that
I don't get it.
we're engaged.
Oh, you're engaged.
Engaged. You're paying attention and you're attentive. If you don't do anything, if your head's perfectly neutral, you don't even care.
That's a dog, because when the more a dog
the more they're
tilts their head, they're paying
looking at
attention to
you.
you. Right.
So another thing that we came across from one of our followers and listeners was Billy had sent us an interesting letter about the
Pride?
the Gay Pilots Association sending a nicely worded letter to the Pride organization here in New York, expressing their doubts about how the organization is doing stuff with, if you're a sponsor, like let's say you're Delta Airlines,
Right.
then I guess they're denying other airline sponsors to be involved. You and I were like trying to figure
Yeah,
that
so I was reading and trying to read more about it. We've had Chris Fredericks on, who's the director of
Heritage of Pride.
Heritage of Pride. But so what has happened is, if you are a brand that is at either a platinum or a presenting level, so you'll use the example of Delta Airlines, for instance, that they will not allow other airlines to have their employees can march, but they can't march with, say it was JetBlue.
Logo.
They can't have JetBlue on, or they can't have a banner. It didn't make sense to me, because if you're going to march, and if I was at a competing airline, why would I march if I can't let people know my company
you're with.
supports me and who I'm with?
We have Billy on the line. So, hey, Billy, welcome to the show.
There I am.
There you are. So, Billy, what is the deal? We're trying to figure this out with these issues of exclusivity. Because I mentioned it to my partner, Bob, and he's like, well, that doesn't sound very much like the spirit of Pride.
According to Jesse, who was our, I guess you'd say, flight leader for the Gotham group, Delta is the primary sponsor of the parade. And they didn't invite nor allow, I guess, any of the members to join in. And any other airline is supposed to hide their logo during the parade. The only ones I think that can show it is JetBlue, and they're marching with the New York City Gay Men's Chorus. So
Okay. Now, did Tim knew about that? Wasn't that some kind of?
I said, thanks for calling, Billy. I said to John, part of me says kudos to the brands that were able to get exclusivity. And I use an example of the Tour de France, for instance, or some of these outdoor games that you see on some of these cable channels, where if you're a particular brand, General Motors, for instance, and you're going to sponsor the Tour de France, you don't want other car companies buying around it. Or if you're sponsoring the Olympics or the Super Bowl.
You want
So you want exclusivity. So I understand that. The issue becomes with Pride, where it's supposed to be about being inclusive.
Yeah.
So what do you do? So if you do spend, so if you're Delta Airlines and you spend $100,000 to be a premier supporter or a sponsor of Pride, and United Airlines comes and says, well, we're going to spend $5,000, but we're still going to march in the parade with 200 employees with United on.
Well, according to Billy, that would be a conflict then, right?
yeah, it's a conflict. And with the Pilots Association, we're just going to have our own separate, inclusive, aviator-related marchers. Hopefully we won't be near Delta, because I don't know how it's getting along. I mean, every day it seems to change, and the attitude changes. But Delta apparently wants to be the Macy's of the Pride Parade. Happy Pride.
Billy, that's a great analogy, the Macy's of the Pride Parade.
So along with, and I asked John, so along with Delta, one of the other premier sponsors is TD Bank, and this is for the New York Pride Parade, right? So it's TD Bank, which is a huge banking conglomerate. But when John looked further down on the sponsorship list, there are probably 6 or 7 other banks.
Wells Fargo, Bank Paribas, Citi.
But then we saw that Wells Fargo is going to drag that stagecoach out, like they do, like they do at all the parades. So we were wondering, though, how are they getting around it? Whereas if other airlines can't, so that's where it was a little bit fuzzy for us, is to try to figure out what level was acceptable and what wasn't. But I guess I agree with you in the spirit of Pride that the more people that want to march and companies that want to participate, the better.
We have our own rules. It said that anyone that is dressed in airline attire cannot have alcohol in their hand, because that will set a bad example.
Right. Well, that makes
sense. And anybody
sense.
that's marching with a partner, they should wear something aviation-related, whether it be Cessna or a Piper or maybe an old Stinson T-shirt or whatever. But it's now become complicated just to go to Pride.
Yeah, and Billy, I'm so glad you had sent that to me. Did you get any feedback from the organization? Did the Pilots Association hear back from the Heritage of Pride folks?
If anyone did, it would have been David himself, and that has not been shared yet. I know the local chapters all across the world are kind of like scratching their heads because we don't know what's going on in San Fran or any of the other cities like Miami. It's just weird that you wouldn't be the company you are without people who fly these airplanes, work on the airplanes, and interact with the customer.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would you disavow having a gay pilot be in your group?
You know, it's just the whole commercialization of this event.
When is the parade?
It's on this Sunday. It's coming Sunday.
So the
25th.
25th. So it'll be curious next week for you to tell us how.
Yeah, I'm going to be.
marching.
We're staging is so late at 3:30. My God, we'll be rolling into the village at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I know, Billy. I'm marching with my husband's group. He's with PVH. Something Van Heusen. I always forget what the P means, and I blank on it. But they have an enormous contingent. They have Calvin Klein underwear models, the whole bit. It's going to be a big thing. And it's like what you were just saying, Billy. I'm like, okay, if you're stepping off, if you're slated to step off at 3, you're not you're done at like
You're back with the Patsy Cline, the gays who like Patsy
We'll be
Cline
rolling in
contingent.
next week, I guess.
Gays for Thomas Edison.
Gays for Patsy
like
Cline.
phones. Hey,
Just
Billy.
bring back the splash float, and we'll all be happy.
There you
Exactly.
go. Now
Now you're talking.
Billy, thank you for sending that letter to my attention. Thank you for your time today, for calling in as well. It's an interesting conversational point, and it's an interesting development with Pride in general, with this whole corporate logo, you can do this, you can't do that, for something that's all about inclusivity. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, but from a business standpoint,
I get it.
We
if
give kudos.
If I were an agency or a marketing director, you'd be like,
You're spending all that money.
spending all the money.
Yeah.
Thanks, Billy.
I'll inbox you later, John, and we'll see if we can get together after this chaos is over.
I would love to. Thank you, Billy.
All right.
Take care.
Cheers.
Love Billy. He's cars and planes. Two things I love. So what caught your eye?
So the
Sorry, I got it closed for a second.
What caught your eye? Here's what Tim and John found.
that's the joy of a live broadcast. I was waiting for the cue.
Guys, we love the fourth. We had a guy who once said, always break through the fourth wall. Talk to your producers. Things happen, because it.
Then a new producer came and said, "Don't do that."
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All right, what caught your eye?
So what caught my eye this week? I saw this and I have anxiety about this. I always did. The headline is, and this came from Fast Company, it was, "How the most successful people poop at work." So they essentially.
I can't believe you found a graphic
Yeah.
like that.
So
Tim's displayed a graphic. It says official rules for pooping at work.
Pooping
And
at work.
There's this image of a guy sitting down, and there's a roll of toilet paper here.
So they talk about the kind of how the anxiety. So they said most Americans, if you're typical, you get up in the morning, and I know you don't drink coffee, but people have the pleasure of coffee. It gives them energy or whatever. But then by the time they get to the office, the pleasure turns to anxiety and a little bit of strife because you've got to use the restroom. And so they said, how do you handle the fact that you want to go to the bathroom and it's an embarrassing thing doing number two? People try to hide their shoes.
Who's out of the stall?
People come in because, and you don't want to make any noise while somebody's in there, so you might wait till they leave before you release. So they go on and on and on. So somebody actually did a full study on this as to how people poop at work, and they had a list of rules. So they said that here were 4 things that they thought that people should do at work. The first one was ban bathroom banter. So they said
You don't want to talk over this. You're talking about like, hey, Joe,
people that are in the bathroom, right?
how's your day going? Oh, I'm fine. After I take this crap, I'm going to do a spreadsheet. I mean, you're talking about
That's
that?
exactly what they said. They said if people are in there to do their business, let them do their business and move on.
Yeah.
It's not the time to talk or have work gossip. So they said,
chit-chat.
right. And if you recognize that somebody's in the stall, let them be. The number 2, and this one drives me nuts, and I've got a picture here if you're watching of somebody, is people that are on their phones either talking or texting on the toilet. And this happened to us a lot at Sirius. We'd be at Sirius, and somebody would be either at the urinal or in the toilet talking on their phone, and I would purposely flush, flush, flush. And then you would always hear, well, I'm in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Who is on the phone in the bathroom?
From a time management point of view, I suppose there's merits, but from an etiquette point of view, I think I don't want to be receiving a call from someone taking a poop.
So,
Yeah.
so I did look it up, and they did say, however, that there's an awful lot of people that do spend time on the phone, and they broke it down by age group of how many people are on the phone in the toilets. They said more than 40% of the people have used their phone in the bathroom.
Never even crosses my mind.
Would you go in there with your phone?
Well, I might bring my phone in to like look at Facebook posts or
It
something.
said 25% go into text, 23% go into, or 6% go into cry, 10% go in to get away, 5% go in to take a nap.
How many percent go to cry?
There was 6%, 23% women, 6% men.
Oh my God.
5% go to sleep, take a nap, get away. No one's going to bother you in there. Grab a nap.
I know. I looked in the booth and John's face goes up. He's like, well, there's an idea there.
So the
And
third.
in the redone bathrooms here at the studio, possibility,
Take a nap.
especially the handicap stall. You could put a cot in there.
Right. Well, they said the third thing is to spring for sense. So I like the poopery that they have, but they said that if they said to these companies, spend a little bit of money and put a little spray freshener in each stall, and that way people won't be embarrassed by the smell, and then you can spray the toilet.
I remember when you found the poopery.
Yeah.
You had
I
brought
love
this to our
poopery.
attention a while ago. It's just...
It's great because you could squirt, it's quiet.
Squirt.
It's quiet. And then the fourth thing was to be a bathroom monitor, and they essentially said to keep the bathrooms clean and make sure you're being respectful from it. And then they talk about this one woman, they said, how do different people get around going to the bathroom and being embarrassed? They'll go to different floors. They'll run across the street to a Starbucks or to a restaurant. And they said the one thing they thought we should consider and when companies are building spaces, and you and I have talked about this in Europe, is to build a single bathroom. Spend money and build one nice single bathroom, unisex bathroom, instead of a mountain of stalls.
I totally agree with that.
And that way people can get in and do their thing. But there are issues with people that take too much time in the bathroom, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember in college, there were no doors on the stalls.
Ooh.
And when I was a freshman at 18 years old, I was petrified. And so I would have to search out what I thought was the best bathroom on campus. So I would try to figure out where I would go to the bathroom.
Stalls.
No doors. No doors on the stalls and the bathrooms.
I'm sorry, there's something about that requires a little privacy.
I think so.
I just don't think that I want to watch.
But I did learn a lesson. I was traveling once with some people from work, and you know who they are, John and Rob.
Yeah. Oh.
And we had flown all night from New York or from Philadelphia to England, and then got in a car and had no break in between. And we got to where we were going up in northern England, and John said he had to use the restroom, and we were having a meeting right outside where the restroom was in this conference room. He went down there, laid down the law. Rob and I are like, you've got to be kidding me, because he goes, listen, I've learned that when you have to go to the bathroom, you go. He had no shame about it. He just went to the bathroom, and I would have felt it.
Being really like, boom.
That was John.
It was John Regini.
Yeah, Rob and I were mortified, but John could care less. He's like, I learned from my days of rowing that when you have to go, you stop, you go. So that's what caught my eye.
Interestingly, that is also the mantra of pro cyclists.
You go, you go.
Go, you go. You're in the saddle. You can't get off. But usually they're talking about number one, which is slightly different.
Yeah. So what caught your eye?
All right. So what caught my eye is a museum in Sweden called the Museum of Failures. And it's dedicated to products that were supposed to solve problems and revolutionize our lives or move the category forward, but they just never got off the ground. So I put up a picture. Oh, yeah. Oh, guys. Okay, on the left there is the Apple Newton. It was the Apple message pad. It was called.
It looks like a Palm Pilot attached to a keyboard.
On steroids. The thing was
Is that what it was?
The thing was a big chunk of plastic with a green screen. I had this device. I would haul it around the country. I used to play like it was a laptop. It was very cumbersome. It was.
What did it do?
Not much.
You had one of those?
I had one. I had all the accessories. I had the
course you
keyboard.
did.
I had a case. Yeah, well, Tim knows. All my old business partners know that if I want tech, I usually get it.
Let me see the phone number.
I was using it in focus groups one time. Anyway, the other item on that page is something called Lady Bic.
Well, I saw those. Are they pastel pens?
They're pastel, and here's how they describe them. The Bic Crystal for her boasts product features like elegant design, just for her, a thin barrel to fit a woman's hand.
Ooh.
The pens also come in an array of pretty pastels, such as lavenders and mint. These were a complete failure, and the Amazon section for comments were littered with hilarious stuff about this.
Well, first of all, they're not dark enough as an ink, is it?
It's quality. Quick drying quality black ink is designed for smooth writing. So they had,
So it wasn't pastel ink. It was still black ink,
it
just the
was-
pastel-y pen.
So
funny.
the Museum of Failures has a quick little 2-minute video so the guy that founded it is curated by 43-year-old clinical psychologist Samuel West. And the case in point about this whole museum is that he thinks that we don't actually look at failure enough, that we're too obsessed with success. And that failure is where we really learn lessons and where we learn how to change things. And so he'll describe that here in this little clip, though.
I feel like every time I get a new box, I feel like it's Christmas. Except the stuff I'm unboxing is failure.
Remember the Polaroid land camera?
Hi, I'm Samuel West, and I'm the curator of the Museum of Failure here in Helsingborg, Sweden.
Of course, Sweden is a museum of failure.
It's a collection of failed innovations that we can learn from. What you're looking at here is a teleguide. It's sort of like a pre-internet internet. You could use it to find phone numbers. You can even do some simple shopping.
Look how crude it is.
The
and the
teleguide
phone
failed
sits on top.
because Swedish Telecom had not negotiated good enough prices, so they actually lost money on each product that was sold.
This one's great, the plastic bike.
So the Itera plastic bicycle from 1982 was a Swedish national innovation failure. It was twice the price of a regular bicycle, it was unstable, and it broke.
Sounds like a sob.
This is the Ford Edsel from 1958. It was probably Ford's biggest mistake. To change gears, you push buttons inside the steering wheel. So instead of tooting the horn, it goes into reverse. It was mega hyped up. It even had its own TV show.
This is the Edsel.
Ford's problem was that they got their customers to install this fantasy. From a psychological perspective, the fiction of the future can be much greater than reality actually is. There was no way that the car could ever meet those expectations. Failure starts early on when you break something as a kid. Nobody goes, yay, good for you, you're learning about your environment. So failure is something that gets internalized quite quickly as something negative. We deal with failure and other painful sort of memories by ignoring them. The same way that the companies do. They fail with the product, and instead of learning from their failure,
Lactose comes
they move
out.
on to the next big thing. I could fill an entire museum with smartphones. This is a Microsoft Kin, cheap phone, nobody liked it. The Twitter Peak, completely useless device, people already had smartphones. This is the Iridium satellite phone,
Oh my God.
too expensive,
that,
cell
yeah.
phones were cheaper and better. The Amazon Fire phone had a buy button, people hated it.
Buy button.
This is my favorite, the Divx.
Okay, this right here is the DivX. It's a disposable DVD. So disposable in the sense that you bought it, you took it home, and once you started watching it, you had 48 hours to watch the movie, and then it didn't play anymore.
Yeah.
This is not a rental, and it's not buy the movie. It's sort of in between. It's nothing. Consumers hated it. It looks horrible. What the hell is this? It's an electric facial mask that makes you as beautiful as Linda Evans from the TV show Dynasty. How? By shocking your face. The main message that I want to convey with the museum is that it's okay to share your inadequacies, your failures, your stupid questions, your unrefined ideas without being negatively judged.
Where'd you find that?
I found it at wiredmagazine.com. Thanks, John. And I just thought it was really funny because I remember all these innovations, especially the Divx. It was like, you saw the price back when it came out. It was like $4 for a movie, $4.99. So it's just kind of wacky.
Jeez.
Anyway,
All right. Well, I don't think the Edsel was a failure, but other than that. So a business birthday.
Everyone does celebrity birthday greetings, but the Focus Group is the only show in the universe that celebrates business birthdays.
So tomorrow, June 22nd, is the birthday of William Scholl, Scholl. He died in 1968 at age 85, a pioneer of foot care, and also the founder of Dr. Scholl's, a brand of foot care products. So you remember Dr. Scholl? So he worked.
he lived to 85.
He lived to 80.
Long life.
Lived to
Okay.
85. He studied at Loyola University in Chicago, and he worked at a shoe store in the evenings, and he became interested in podiatry. People had a lot of problems with their feet. So in 1904, he invented and patented an arch support, and then founded the company Dr. Scholl's to sell it. Over his lifetime, he had thousands or hundreds of innovations for feet, taking care of bunions and corns and so forth and so on. And then he got inspiration from Germany and Finland. They're still trying to figure out where of those shoes, the Dr. Scholl's shoes for your feet. So there's a couple of pictures you'll see. Remember, those shoes were big in the 70s with girls
Huge,
wearing those
huge,
things.
yeah.
They were big,
Those.
right? They were big hit at Woodstock.
The wood thing with the leather thing stapled over.
Right. So the European version was flat. So what he did is he went into and cut out the
Contoured.
beech wood so it would contour to your feet, and they became a big success. But they would only sell next to kind of the other Dr. Scholl's products. So after he died, he had no children. He wasn't married, but the company was left. He and his brother that ran the company was left to his nephew, who ended up selling the company in 1993 to a company called Pagoda.
Pagoda.
And they ended up now manufacturing the shoes, and Michael Kors and Isaac Mizrahi have used them on the runway. They're hot again if you're interested in getting a pair, and they're now as a fashion accessory for the Dr. Scholl's footwear. They said the clack and slap sounds that we all knew have not changed, though the sandals are now fashion classics and no longer in the foot care area.
I like what you did with the clack and the slap. Because it's the clack, slap, because it bounces back up and hits the heel. That's hysterical.
But it's, I always like kind of things like that because he saw a need and then he
whole category.
addressed
His
it.
name is like forever associated with insoles, shoes, the whole thing.
Yep.
Wow.
So happy birthday,
Good business
William Scholl.
birthday. I still, by the way, if you're watching or listening, and if you've been a fan of the show for the 8 or 9 years we've been on, I have no idea how Tim finds the business birthday. And by the way, it's a closely guarded secret.
It takes a while.
Closely guarded secret.
I do lots of algorithms. So.
All right. So, hey, Deep Discount is a partner of ours here on the Focus Group. We love Deep Discount. It is one of my favorite segments to prepare and do because I am a TV, movie and media whore. Deep Discount is running a site-wide sale, thousands of items on the site, from DVDs to Blu-rays to music to vinyl to turntables to mugs to T-shirts to figurines. Visit deepdiscount.com by visiting our site, focusgroupradio.com. Look for their logo. It's a shark. I don't know why I do the pirate whenever I do. Arr, pirate shark. Click on through and begin your little adventure, because every week I go down the rabbit hole when I'm doing this, and I want to thank our partners at Deep Discount for this, because it gives me an opportunity to share with you some of our absolute favorite things that they do feature on the site. So me and Tim have been taking the month of June to look at titles that LGBT specific, or in this week, they're LGBT adjacent.
Right, or friendly.
Friendly.
Right.
A movie that I picked that I can watch it anytime it's on. If I pop it in, and I do want to pick up there's a special edition available now. It's called Strictly Ballroom. And it is, Strictly Ballroom is the first, if you're a big fan of Moulin Rouge, then you know the director Baz Luhrmann. This is his first film, actually, and it's a really charming, great movie. I loved it. The music was great story. Visit Deep Discount and pick up your copy. If you have not seen it, you will. Are you a fan?
I have not seen it.
No. Well, that deepdiscount.com.
I know. I've got a list of things I need to get.
Now, I do think you did see this next one.
Yes.
Okay, so the next one I picked was another one that came out in 1994. By the way, Strictly Ballroom came out in 1993. This is called Muriel's Wedding, and it features Toni Collette, who played the mother in The Sixth Sense. I see dead people. And also Rachel Griffiths, who had a great run on 6 Feet Under for many years, Australian actress. Muriel's Wedding is a fun, also poignant movie. There's a
the best part of it is the soundtrack.
ABBA.
Yeah, it's ABBA soundtrack.
ABBA. And then Tim's in charge of this next one, folks.
So the next one that I picked, and you've heard us talk about Grey Gardens, and not the HBO special. You have to watch the original Grey Gardens from the Maisel brothers from 1975. But due to the success of that documentary, which is a cult classic about Jackie O's cousins, Big Edie and Little Edie, that live in a broken down old ramshackle house in the Hamptons, due to the success of the documentary, and then there was a play on Broadway, the Maisels put together some additional footage. So if you know the premise of the relationship between the mother and daughter, this one is called The Beals of Grey Gardens.
Tim turned me on to this.
I actually like it a little better than Grey Gardens, because now that you know the shtick, you can really dig into some of the psyche of both of them. And there's one line which is my favorite in there in the beginning, where she says, her brother thinks she's crazy, and she said, my brother said I should move to Atlantic City. She said, I'm not that broken down yet. So there's just lots of great scenes in there. And if you were a fan of Grey Gardens, right now they've got going on, and I did check at Deep Discount. If you go to focusgroupradio.com, click on Deep Discount, and get either Grey Gardens, there's a set of them, or you can get the Beals at Grey Gardens, the best prices of anywhere. now.
But one thing
Part of the Criterion
yeah,
collection.
And Tim wanted to mention that it was part of the Criterion collection, and Criterion does fantastic transfers of films, plus a lot of great.
It is a
footage.
good price. It's a great price.
And this week, Deep Discount is featuring a movie that I have not seen, and I should have because of my sci-fi chops. It's called Life, sci-fi thriller about a 6-person international space crew. And John, I think there's a little video clip down there.
Is that a comedy?
No, it's not a comedy.
You know there's no life on Mars.
Well, apparently there's a returning mission from Mars brought back some kind of microbe or something, and it's brought back to the space station. And it's basically a horror movie from what I can gather, but it looks slick.
When did it come out?
Came out just
And
about
you haven't seen it?
4 or 5 months ago. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. I'm intrigued by it. I didn't get to see it in the theaters, but I thought, well, it looks well done. I'll give it a try.
These space movies are so dark to me.
Well, space is dark to start with.
It's like that Dune movie you liked where it's all orange. It's an orange movie, terracotta movie.
Love it. Dune. You're right. Orange was the primary color of that.
Anyway.
You know, there's always a grain of, in every Tim critique, there's a real grain of truth there.
So do us a favor, head over to focusgroupradio.com, click on the Deep Discount logo, and watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it.
Thanks, Deep Discount.
But that's what
That was
I call
good today.
a perfect segment.
Hey, coming up after the break, we've got a family member here in the Focus Group, Brian Roman from AdMark 360, and we're launching a new segment, which is called the Focus Group LGBT Business Spotlight, brought to you by AdMark 360. And Brian's got a wheel, John's going to spin, and we're going to have an LGBT-owned business that's going to Skype in and tell us about their company. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more.
I think we're going to wrap up with one of our last pictures here, which is the best things about the new 2017 VW All-Track, which we've been very excited about for a long time, and I'm glad the car lived up to our expectations.
Well, it was the athleticism that we mentioned, but it's the confidence and the power and the control. The thing that I was most amazed with that car, and you talked about with Megan going 80 miles an hour as the speed limits, when we would go out to pass, because there were a lot of single lanes, we're in passing lanes, I was shocked at this car's 170 horsepower. It's a turbo. 1.8 liter, and it flew. And as I said, the most fun I've had since driving the e-Golf or like a Subaru WRX or STI. This car was powerful with all our luggage, with all the stuff that we had in the car. Very confident. I mean, we were never afraid that we weren't going to be able to do what we needed the car to do for us. So it really became part of the Focus Group family on that trip, because we both came away with loving the car. And we were both a little skeptical at first, because there was a pretty high bar to go after.
Tim has often said to me,
wagons.
And I learned years ago when I was working as your agency, when you were at Subaru, all-wheel drive is not the easiest thing engineering-wise to nail, and not for a whole host of reasons because of, just the engineering. This is a solid. I'm really, really happy to say that they've been a partner and sponsor of ours for years. What a great thing to actually really love this product. Right. We've been waiting for such a long time, and I really think if you're in the market, I personally believe everybody should be in all-wheel drive vehicles anyway. I think it makes for a much safer driving experience. But if you're in that zone and you're looking at that particular class of vehicle, by all means give it a look, because it really does deserve a test drive.
Right.
Now, back to the Focus Group with Tim and John.
Glamour today is nothing but a tight skirt, loose hips, and wet lips.
An entertaining look at the world of business.
Make it work. Make it work. Make it work.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, we're pogoing.
Hey, welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash here with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. FocusGroupRadio.com is all you need to know to find every platform we're on, video and audio, and to check out DeepDiscount.com. Click on their logo, go through and get some bargains at the site-wide sale in June. Sitting to my right is Focus Group family member, honorarium. Well, Brian's been with us for so many years. It's Brian Roman of AdMark 360. AdMark. Well, why don't you tell us about AdMark 360?
AdMark 360 is your promotional products place to go. If you need promotional products or any kind of signage, any kind of event material, give me a call.
And Brian's been doing our socks for the show, amongst other things, but has done our socks and these mugs. You see our nice mugs. But so it's admark360.com is the address, right?
Web address. Yeah.
So what are I don't know if the right way to phrase it, but are there products? Is it cyclical, the business, where people like, are there hot things right now that?
Well, it's hot times of the year, like right after the holidays. It's dead during the holidays. Right in the spring, everybody's ordering, and it's really busy.
But what do they want? Water bottles, or
Yeah,
is there one thing that people like more so than another?
This year, it's the spinners.
The fidget?
The fidget spinners.
Is that what they're called,
wants
fidgets?
these
Fidget spinners. Yeah, there's it's a ball bearing kind of toy. isn't it?
Yeah, and you put it in your
Are
finger.
you getting them out of Japan, or where are you getting them from? I mean, China.
Yeah, everything's out of China.
China,
Yeah,
Pakistan.
decorated in the United States, but out of China. Yeah,
Decorated in the United States. There's a woman who puts glitter and
yeah, she's bedazzling them.
Don't you wish we could have come up with something like that?
So
fidget
stupid.
spinner. I just read an article about how we seem to hit peak fidget spinner.
Yeah.
That sales are already like they've peaked and now they're starting to come down.
I get probably 10, 12 emails a day
For fidget spinners?
fidget spinners, just ads. Hey, I had the best finish. All these, suppliers giving me, deals on fidget spinners.
Because it's been around for a few years, and then it just had a resurgence.
Yeah.
When I was in Rehoboth and the boardwalk, they were all over the place. You can go into the arcades, and that's what the gift was. So these little kids were all trying to get
They're
these
all
fidget
walking around
spinners.
like it bounces on your finger.
Yeah, on your
or
finger,
something?
and they just spin.
And the fidget part, you're supposed to make it move by.
Kind of like those balls, you put in your
Oh, yeah. I remember
those metal
yeah.
things that keep you calm. They're supposed
We
to
need a pet rock idea. Why can't you come up with an idea for us?
Let's talk about that over cocktails.
All right. Don't you think we should have a pet rock or
should have
something, John?
something.
Maybe a Mars rock. You're so fascinated. You two, you like sci-fi as well. Maybe we can get a piece of
Don't get that movie
piece
that
of,
he was
rock,
just
piece of rock from Uranus. Not a good movie. Life.
Yeah.
Well, you like science fiction. Do both of you
You like
guys?
quality sci-fi.
You'd rather spend
And
life.
in fact, did you, well, we're not going to do movies.
Yeah,
So AdMark 360, you're busy all year. You could
Yeah.
do signage. You could do giveaways.
Yeah, we
you
do
could
logo design too.
Clothing
just
stuff.
Clothing, lots
Business
of
cards.
Business cards. Yeah, we do.
our business cards,
We just
yeah.
did these really great T-shirts for a nonprofit for the Pride in Philadelphia, where they had the emojis of the peach and the eggplant. And so that was they got
We should
rid
get
of
those,
those.
John.
They got rid of those within minutes of opening up their.
So was it like an eggplant? Was it on the front?
On the front, or a peach, and then they had their information on the back. So everybody's
now,
asking,
Brian-
"Are you the eggplant? Or are you the peach?"
What would you be, John? Eggplant or peach? Or would you do both?
I'm gonna reveal my cultural ignorance and say
don't know what it is?
I know what they are, but I might be the eggplant. Maybe I'm wrong.
Eggplant parmesan.
I think you're the eggplant,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
I don't. But I've seen that the eggplant always pops up in relation to that's the emoji for.
Yeah.
For the male anatomy, and the
equipment.
peach, both people have a peach. Men and women have a peach.
Yeah.
Bingo. Okay, that reminds me of a trip we were on once. One of the riders was playing this game of stallion or mare.
Oh yeah, or stallion or mare. I
So
remember
is
that.
that like eggplant?
Same thing, eggplant, peach,
Okay.
stallion and mare.
Those nuts and bolt parties.
And one of the guys we thought was a stallion was very happily a mare.
Mare, and he was proclaiming it
Right.
to the entire party as if it was, "Come on, saddle up."
And I've met a few peaches.
But now,
lately.
Bouncy bounce.
but Brian is here for a very specific. Besides
Yeah,
the fact that he
something
does
fun.
all our great stuff, and you should check out admark360.com and give Brian a ring. He is responsive, fast, and always has a great product. Those are three great things. But you're here because you're sponsoring our LGBT Business Spotlight. And it's something that, Tim, we've wanted to do for a long time and we want to continue to do. And that's shine a spotlight on small LGBT businesses, small or large, actually, doesn't really matter, but from around the country, what they do. And Brian's brought so what we're going to do is we're going to spin this very heavy.
So can you tell us who the two companies are?
Yeah,
Will John
so
get your wheel out?
One is it's called Our Community, and they are a new
Just straighten it out.
company that starting up these kind of portfolio
There we go.
of several companies in each city, and they have about 8 cities, You can go to their website, and the booklet
it's
is
a business
available.
guide, right?
Yeah, business guide, and they send them out to the cities, and you can get your ads.
This is a well-crafted wheel, folks. There's this huge lug nut on the back. I mean, Brian was like, I should loosen that nut so this thing goes spinning across the room.
But so they have all their. They put these in the different bars and restaurants.
And the other
things.
company.
So it's an LGBT business guide,
Yes,
right?
guide,
and
okay.
it goes.
So you pick it up at bars and
and your the neighborhood type businesses. The other one is
Now, you practice this.
Pogonotrophics, I believe. Pogonotrophics. Yes, this is the beard guy.
That's their job.
Yeah, they're going to tell us what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But they have a line of hair care for guys growing beards and they're shaving.
So it's all natural hair care products, but for the bearded, hairy man.
Exactly, for the bear.
But Brian and I decided that we were pogonotropic, if that's the word, challenged up here. Not here, but...
Well, they say women like the products too, but if we get... So what we're going to do is spin a wheel, and then whoever gets...
They're going to be on the first time.
So, John, you're going to straighten it out, John, so we can see it to the
Give it a good shot.
Give it a good shot, John.
Really good one.
Oh, for God's sake. Come on, spin it. Oh, no.
No, that's a good spin.
Is that a good spin?
That's a good spin.
So
And
it
that is
come
gonna
up
be
to Pogo. So it must be the guys in Chicago.
Yeah, so,
right, so
we're
they're
going to go
Brian,
right into
this-
John.
So they're going to join us by...
This thing is so solid.
They're going to join us by Skype, and who would be joining us from
John
Pogo?
Coyle.
John Coyle?
Yes.
So is that John?
Oh, John, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Perfect.
Well,
I can see you must use your product.
Yes, I do. That's why it's all shiny.
All right, so first, John, could you pronounce the name of the company correctly?
Easiest way to go is all long O's. So Pogonotrophics.
Pogonotrophics.
And what does that mean?
It is a Greek word that means, Pogono means male characteristics like facial hair, body hair. Troph means to care for or nurture. And X means of or pertaining to. So to nurture beard hair.
What is the J&L?
J is for John. A is for my husband Larry, who is kind of like my sounding board for all my ideas, and he helps me sell the stuff.
Wow. So you guys are based in Chicago.
Yes.
Is it can people buy where can people source your product from? Is it online, or could you buy it at retailers, or how would people find you?
In Chicago, there are a couple retail locations that carry my products. There's a couple barbershops and a little boutique store here in the Rogers Park neighborhood called Provisions, and online at pogonotrophics.com.
Wow. So
I always think, John, it's a great thing when someone has an idea for a business. So how long ago, and I love when it gets off the ground and people start buying the product and you see it in stores and you're manufacturing and you're coming up with the new product ideas. How long ago did the origin of the business start? Like how many years ago did you have the idea? And
3.5 years ago.
That's a pretty short time frame to go from idea to actual products, right?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Did you have the idea for the products first, or were you doing some other kind of hair care business first?
It's an odd way I started. I'm kind of a culinary person. I love to cook.
Wow.
Recently, my husband bought some beard oil. I tried it, didn't like it. I was looking for a good price for grapeseed oil for cooking. An aha moment, grapeseed oil is used in the beard oil that my husband bought. And I started digging into the oils and how much it costs on all the oils that are in that beard oil. And I started I can make my own better, cheaper. So I started learning everything I can about natural oils and everything that goes into a beard oil, and came up with 3 different formulas initially that catered to different needs that men have with their beard hair.
So I'm somewhat naive. So you actually put because I don't have a beard, particularly as long as yours, but
or as well maintained.
But would you? So how often would you put beard oil in? Is it a daily thing? Is it like you would shampoo your hair, or how often do you use beard oil?
Depends on your beauty regimen. Daily, if you have a very dry beard, and use the lighter conditioning oil too. If you just really need to give it a little punch, maybe every 2 or 3 days. Ideally, you're not shampooing your beard.
Huh.
You're not shampooing the beard. Interesting.
And I'm sorry, is it, and then I saw somewhere in the information Brian gave us of organic versus natural. Is that the same thing, or what's the difference between organic
Natural
products
means-
and natural?
Although some say cyanide's natural, but natural means it comes from plant sources. So organic means there's very strict regulations defining what is organic. There's no pesticides, herbicides used in the cultivating of it, and certain processes must be followed. The problem I found is some of the organic products out there, their quality in general, the purity of the product, yes, it was grown organically, but it wasn't as clean of a product as I was getting through a very pure provider.
Okay, great. Well, we want to thank you for joining us. And what we're going to do is we're going to put your information on our website, which is Focus Group Radio, on our Facebook page,
before you let him
so
go,
people
though,
can find. Sure.
What is the most popular product?
I forgot. That was in our questions.
Did you
Yeah.
have that?
What's
You
your?
guys have that? Yeah. What's the most
Honestly, my singular most popular product is junk oil.
Junk oil? Is that for down below?
Yes, it is.
Well, now maybe I don't want to let you go so quick. What's junk oil do?
Maybe we need some samples.
I had a nephew that was living with me who used powder to keep fresh, keep the scent down.
Yeah.
And I got tired of running into a cloud of powder in the bathroom after he showered.
Isn't that the case, right?
So I found that actually these oils are naturally antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. And they're just really good skin conditioning. A light, thin oil put on keeps you fresh for hours. Really good after you work out or during the workout to prevent chafing. And that's the first product that women started about because they work out. They want to have something like that.
So that's unisex then. That's great.
Yes.
What's the scent?
It's a light lavender bergamot. So it's kind of like not floral, not too anything, really.
And what does junk oil cost?
It's $15 for a 4-ounce bottle.
I gotta get junk
How long
oil,
does that
John.
last? Well, I guess
That's how big your junk is.
How big your junk is. Yeah.
I'm glad you got that question in, John. I'm that's
I'm
a good
fascinated
one.
by this now because since we're not bearded, this is another product that we could drive.
Oh, and it's unisex, and it goes beyond just the bearded and hairy
Well,
guys.
that's what
right?
opened the door to J&L Apothecary, where I'm developing a full line of products that are unisex, that's very generic in labeling, so it will appeal to anybody, because part of my company is the whole concept of I want people to be themselves. I just want to help them feel better about being themselves any way I can. So I don't
like
care
that.
what your gender is, sexual identity. If it works for you, it works.
Well, John, we want to thank you for spending time with us. And as I said before we got on junk oil, which I'm glad we did, is that on our Facebook page, we're going to put all the information for you and for our listeners as to how they can contact you. But before you go, why don't you let us know your website again where people can contact you?
It's Pogonotrophics.com.
Pogonotrophics. I'm getting it. John, we're getting it. Long O.
Pogonotrophics.com. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for being
John.
number one.
Thank
The
you all.
first one. Thank you.
Yeah, that's our first business. So what we're going to do is, since it is Pride Month, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we do want to talk to the other company, even though they didn't get the big.
No, we changed the game. They were just the first step.
Yeah.
So who's the second?
Mike Jones from
Mike Jones from our community.
Yeah.
Okay, so stay with us. This is Tim Bennett with John Nash. We're in the middle of our segment, which is the focus group LGBT Business Spotlight, brought to you by AdMark 360. Our guest is Brian Roman. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit VW.com to learn more. Focus on the savvy side of 9 to 5 with the Focus Group.
Been in business a week. I got more money than I know what to do with.
Listen, laugh, and learn with Tim and John.
Herrera Rocher. He is doing well.
Welcome back to the Focus Group. John Nash with my good friend and co-host Tim Bennett. Sitting to my right is Brian Roman from AdMark360.com. I mean, it's AdMark360, but you want to reach Brian, it's AdMark360.com. Big friend of the Focus Group. If you've ever worn our socks or if you're getting a pair in the mail very soon, this is the man who makes them.
Didn't you want to do Focus Group 360 at one time as a name change or no?
Yes, I did.
You did?
FG 360.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was going to be because and it would have dovetailed nicely into your business as well. And now we'll start selling junk oil.
We're more like FG 180.
Brian is here with us today. Brian's doing a spotlight with us called the Focus Group LGBT Business Spotlight, and it's brought to us by Brian at AdMark 360. We were profiling LGBT businesses around the country, and Brian found the two businesses that we're talking to today. And so far, so good.
So we spun the wheel and we talked to J&L
Pogonotrophics. Keep the O long.
There's their logo.
And the next one.
So who's next, Brian?
The next one is our community, Mike Jones from our community. And he has a company with, business ad booklets that are going into different communities around the U.S.
Now, he's joining us via Skype, I think.
Right. They're known as the premier business and service directory guides for the LGBT community. So, there he is.
Hey, Mike. Welcome to the show. Audio's a little...
Do we have the audio?
It was working. Yeah.
Do you want to try?
Can you hear me now?
There he
is. That's
all right.
That's
a commercial, isn't it?
The joy of live TV and live video.
Oh, Brian, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, how you doing, Mike? Good to have you here.
Good. Yourself?
Great. So we are introducing our community guides here today. And can you just tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and how you started and what cities we're in and things like that?
Yeah, so we are a media company that puts out a directory and event guide for the LGBTQ audience. And currently we're in 40 different markets across the United States. We started with 10 cities about 3 years ago, and it's just blown up. It's become very successful for us and obviously the readers. And basically it's a way for us being gay, lesbian, transgender, LGBTQ community to actually deal with a business or individual that we need to deal with that would be open-minded, basically doesn't have any issues with the way I live my life.
So, Mike, that actually answers a question I was going to ask, which is, in order to participate in the guide, a business does not necessarily have to be LGBT owned or operated, but they do have to be LGBT friendly, and they have to understand the community. That's kind of the mission of our community.
That's correct. Yeah.
Our allies.
When we get on the call with the client, first thing we do ask them is, are you, able or are you willing to work with the LGBT? This is an LGBTQ directory. Do you have any issues with that? And, the response, surprisingly enough, is no. I either have family or I have friends. And I'd love to work with you guys.
So, Mike, where are you based out of?
We're in West Palm Beach, Florida.
That's a nice location.
It's a very nice location to be based out of.
It's beautiful.
And were you involved in media before this? How old are these? How old is your company?
It's about 3 years old now.
Okay. And what did you do before?
Before, I've actually done marketing my whole life. The telesales has been my life. Without actually having a full college education, it's a great way to make a living.
Is there any competition in the market? Because I remember there used to be another booklet like this, kind of. I think it was called the Freedom Pages or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah. I did too. I thought there was like a yellow page.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them around for years. I just wondered, are you guys really the only thing going in this realm?
I understand there are a few competitors out there. I haven't heard of the publication you're talking about.
I think it's defunct anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a couple of competitors out there, which I really choose not to mention.
That's smart.
But but it's working out very well, like I said, not only for the readers, the advertisers, because, with our audience, obviously, we stick together. And that's what I explained to the client. By us reaching out to them, And if they do a good job for us and they don't actually judge, me just because I live a different lifestyle, then it's a win-win, for both of us.
Right. So the guide, it's a nice guide. I have the Philadelphia one in front of me, and
the ad mark ad's here.
Is it in there?
Yeah,
is there an ad mark ad in there?
Beautiful ad in there. Half-page ad.
So is this? Have you found that these would be distributed at LGBT businesses or friendly businesses in Philadelphia, for example, with this guide? Can people access the information online as well?
Yes, they can. We have a website. It's ourcommunityusa.com. So not only are the books distributed at restaurants, hotels, bars, antique stores, pretty much, throughout the city. What we do is we reach out to the establishments and say, look, if we list you as being a restaurant, or a hotel in the book, would you be a distribution point for us? And they say, sure, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a free plug for them, obviously. Sure. But the nice thing about our books is the fact that we only feature typically one, at most two of each type of business. And that's important. We're not like Yelp and the rest of these companies that will put 40 of your competitors in there with you.
Yep.
So Michael, that's an interesting differentiation point for you and for our community, is this notion that it sounds like that's a bit of a curated idea, that if I'm looking for a carpenter or someone like a carpenter, for instance, and if there's only 3 or 4 listed, I'm looking at probably the 3 or 4 that I don't have to do all the, like you said, I don't have to go through 100 people. These are the guys I want to talk to, right?
Right. Yeah. It definitely helps in the respect that that they're going to be open-minded, whether they're gay themselves, because we do have a lot of businesses that like to participate that actually are gay-owned. But most of the time they say, I have family, friends, and whatnot. And it makes it really easy to pick out whether it be a plumber, a dentist, attorneys. I mean, we have them all. And, it's really blowing up. Like I said, we went from 10 books about 3 years ago into 40 different markets across the United States.
So with 40 different markets, what's the gayest market?
West Palm.
Well, that's a good question, I don't know. I would say you got Atlanta, that's very popular.
Yeah, that's smart, yeah.
Los Angeles, obviously. I think we're all over, let's be honest.
Yeah. Good. Yep. Hey, Michael, on the print product, which I think you do a really handsome job on, the little booklet's really cool. You were describing before controlled circulation. That's where you're dropping off these books at locations that you've vetted and they want them there. Of the two, of the print edition versus the website, are they getting equal traffic? Are you noticing that one is, or are they serving different markets? Some people love the print and might never go to the web, but from a business development point of view, where do resources need to go for your future? Is it going to be more print or is it going to be more online?
Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, a lot of the companies we talk to don't, at first, they're not very receptive to the whole thing because we talk about the books. And with print, as you already know, because you have plenty of years of experience in marketing, it doesn't do very well for the audience. But what I explain to my clients is with us LGBTQ, we stick together. So if you treat me right, I'm going to tell my friends and family about you. And if you do us bad, guess what? We're going to talk bad about you too.
If you do us bad.
I guess that wasn't correct.
No, that was the right sentiment. That was exactly
it's
right.
The importance of loyalty and word of mouth.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
Loyalty and word of mouth. That's for sure.
But back to your original question, they have the option of hitting it digitally or on print. And to be honest with you, it's working out well on both ends of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. We're getting roughly 3,000 to 5,000 hits per month on our website per city.
Wow.
And, we put out 15,000 publications on a monthly basis over a 6-month run. So, when I tell my clients is we're not going to promise to send you to Hawaii, but if I can pull you a client or two and it pays, the ad pays for itself, and more importantly, we get your name out in the community as being open-minded, then there again, it's a win-win for all of us.
Sure. So how many employees do you have?
We have roughly 50 different employees right now. We have a sales team of 20 plus. We have an in-house graphic design department. So what's cool about placing an ad with us is the graphic design is included at no extra charge.
Wow, that's big.
We should focus group should be in here. Well, I'm just thinking focus group should be in
No,
here.
so you actually have people because I was wondering.
We sold AdMark, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably how you got on.
So we must be good.
I was going to say though, how do you do? So do you have sales reps calling on individual cities to actually get into the books? Is that how it works? They're on staff, or are they a freelance sales force?
No, we actually have a corporate office here in West Palm Beach that houses, all of our salespeople, graphic design department. And yeah, it's really exciting because, when I first started with the company, I didn't imagine it would go this far. And it's just blown up, and we're very proud of it.
Are you finding the companies that you're asking to advertise through like the chambers of commerce, the LGBT chambers of commerce in the cities,
or is it just
a
lot of footwork?
A lot of footwork. Yeah, exactly.
No, we actually use multiple lists that are friendly, with the dialer. We do have a predictive dialer that gets rid of the answering machines and the, busy signals. And, which helps us out a lot, obviously.
Can't believe I answered the phone.
Rachel from Card Services. It's Michael from our community.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we are working several different lists, and a lot of times I'll speak to a client and they'll say, hey, I got 5 or 6 people that would love to be in your book. Give them a call, So it's a lot of word of mouth.
Good.
A lot of word of mouth going on. And you guys are helping us get out there, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
so it's ourcommunityusa.com, and so people can get information on the various cities and see if their city is listed.
Pick up books.
Or pick up a book at...
and their information will be on your Facebook page as well.
Yep.
Yes.
We'll be putting it on there.
Awesome. Can I leave you a number also for them to call?
Sure.
Great. 561. Where's my teleprompter?
Wait, our producer John's like
0196.
And
again, 561-270-0196, and I'll take good care of you guys.
Great.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks. So, Brian, thank you for the two
very different businesses, huh?
Yes. Yeah, I thought that was fun.
So you want to advertise in our community, John?
I do.
Good idea.
Brian's in here.
I saw that.
Brian's got a nice half-page ad.
Yeah.
Did they put it together for you?
They did.
They did a good job.
Yeah, they did a nice job.
So you're gonna relinquish control of the creative control?
I'll create the ad.
Oh yeah, I knew.
I will forward the ad.
You can do that. Yes,
I can.
I wanted to do that.
I'm still nominally a graphic designer.
Yes.
So that's so we'd like
segment.
to once a quarter have you back to bring us some LGBT owned businesses, and we had a lot of listeners that had asked us to do this for a while, so we're glad that you and AdMark 360 were able to
and
bring
Brian,
this to us.
kudos on 2 businesses that are literally at opposite ends of the spectrum. Although John's business should
be
advertise
in here,
in Michael's business.
Right.
Exactly, yes.
And I think the premier product they should lead with is junk oil.
Junk oil.
You know what? I'm getting junk oil.
Yes, we're going to order that.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And oh my God! Well, I'm glad I had on there like what's your most
problem?
Say, I've never heard of a problem before.
I don't have stinky balls, but I did.
Who was the?
I think you might want to be fresh.
Fresh balls.
That was fresh balls, which we wouldn't let them.
They used to do this ad when they used to talk about bat wings.
Right, and we didn't want them to advertise on our show.
The ads were a little.
We didn't have them on Sirius XM. We said no fresh balls on the focus group. We're trying to get coin.
Yeah.
So Brian,
We're trying to get coin.
So Brian, it's admark360.com.
Admark360.com.
And we'll have that information as well on our website.
Brian's going to be back.
Yep.
Yeah, next quarter with a new batch of companies.
Couple weeks, yep.
You had another one, they chickened out. People get scared.
Yeah, we want you to know there's nothing to be afraid of.
It's not a gotcha.
It was adoptions from the heart.
For pets?
For people, for children. So for people.
Brian, no,
it's for. I shouldn't say I shouldn't say they chickened out, but people get stage fright.
Yeah,
you don't know what.
And there's also it was also a little bit of a timing issue with them, and so
we're not a.
Maybe for the future.
Next time, yes.
Maybe they'll
be on the wheel. They'll be on the wheel of.
But the heavy wheel.
Of
custom
companies.
made, and just so you see at home,
yes,
this thing was going nowhere. There's a big bolt on the back.
See, I thought we could use that for other things, John. We could spin it and say, okay, John, tell me a story about blank. And
if the guys in the booth know the Mad Max movies, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Tina Turner, bust a deal and face the wheel.
Is that a wig she had on?
Tina had a big wig on, and that chainmail outfit was like 40.
I don't need another
she, by the way, total down the rabbit hole on that. It was a difficult movie because she's a singer and she's used to speaking fast, and they had to do multiple takes of her because she wouldn't slow down. They'd be like, "Slow down, it's a movie."
Her throne.
Yeah,
that big throne she sat in.
Auntie Entity. See, it's 2 against 1.
Well, I got 2 movie queens here with me. So listen, thanks everybody for joining us today. We want to thank Brian Roman from AdMark360. Again, if you love our socks and our mugs and all the other stuff, give Brian a call. He sources lots of things for us, as well as a number of blue chip companies throughout the U.S. and does a great job and great pricing. And thanks to our friends at Deep Discount. Be sure to go to focusgroupradio.com, click on the Deep Discount logo. The whole month of June, the whole site's on sale, and I got to tell you, it's good pricing for someone who's frugal. And thanks to our partners at Volkswagen. Go to VW.com and learn about all the great vehicles Volkswagen has. There's some spring savings as we go into summer happening right now. The new Atlas is out, and the new Tiguan is coming. So be sure to check out those vehicles. And remember, don't text and drive. We hope everyone has a great holiday weekend as the 4th of July is upon us in about 14 days, is it? I don't know when. Guess what? Next week, Paul Hagen is here. An old friend of the show.
Paul Hagen, an old focus group.
It's really been a focus group family month here in June. So again, thank you, Brian. Thank you, John. Thanks to the boys in the booth, John and Garrett. We'll see you next week.
Happy Pride.
It's The Focus Group with Tim Bennett and John Nash. Formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio and now accessible on all platforms. Subscribe, like, and rate us on your platform of choice. Learn more at focusgroupradio.com.